Hi guys, it's Leah with Family Heritage Living. Again, we've been absent for a couple weeks, and I wanted to come in and visit with you guys for a few and see how everybody was doing. We're praying that everybody is well and staying safe. If you didn't have the homesteading bug before and the current situations in the world have caused you to develop it, we are praying that you are finding yourself prosperous, getting your gardens going on, and maybe even a few homestead animals if that's your cup of tea. But we have been working on our garden, and we are clearing an area for a small orchard, so we're really excited about that. We've been wanting to do that since we've moved up here, and we just have not been able to, so we are getting a few apple trees planted, and we do have thimbleberries throughout the property as well as blackberries, but we're going to be using or putting in some actual raspberry plants because we want to get as much productivity going as possible. We're doing some gardening. We don't plant up here. We're still way too early without a greenhouse to plant up here. Still getting spitting of snows. Frost is still coming. So we're doing our gardening in a box in the house right now. And then we're going to plant outside, of course, as soon as possible. Ron's getting the some soil areas ready. Now you gotta remember, being in the forest, we have to work with the forest. We're not going to come in and clear out a spot for a garden like it typically is considered. When you hear the word garden, you think it's just a flat area of land. We decided when we moved up here we were going to work with the forest, and we were going to conform to its ways and not make it conform to ours. So that's our gardening is more along the lines of old world gardening, where there are boxes and plants set in unconventional ways of today. So where he's been making adding soil where needed, and wood ashes for the low acidic plants. We have a bunch of seeds left over from the past few years, but we did order some more seeds, especially with the state of things, and they're getting really hard to find. We just wanted to make sure we had what we wanted, and we're going to up our game. We've never saved seeds before. It's not hard to do, I understand, so we'll be saving seeds this year. And in case you have not been out from lockdown in your state, in our state, you would not believe how hard it is to find a dentist during this time. RJ had a tooth repaired back in March while I was in the hospital, as a matter of fact. He had a large cavity, and they fixed it, or so we thought. But about 2 weeks ago, in fact right after our last video upload, one reason we haven't done a more current video upload, because we spent that whole week with him. He went down with a migraine. He has a history of migraines, and it took about 2 or 3 days after the migraine for us to realize that it was probably an infected tooth up in the canal. And the only way, all the symptoms said infection, but because he had that tooth repaired, my mind kept saying, no, it's not an infection, it's not an abscess, because there was no, a lot of people, when they get abscesses, they get it on the inside of their jaw or up on the roof of their mouth, so they can say, okay, I've got an infection going on. But his pain was so intense, and I kept thinking, well, no, it's not an abscess because he's had that tooth repaired. But my brother, who's a hygienist for the past 35 years, said, you know what, I bet this is what's going on. So it was a Friday by the time we got to that point. He'd been in excruciating pain for a while, and we tried to get a hold of the dentist that repaired the tooth, but dentists right now in Michigan are closed for emergency procedures only, so you have to leave a message and wait for them to call you back. Well, there's the problem. Okay, first off, we don't have a phone on the property. We're not in cell service, and their message box was full. So we kept calling. We got through to a clinic in the area that is not just a health clinic, but has dentistry. Even though their dentist was out of the office or was too busy to be seen, they had a PA available. And that was a very disappointing experience, because all they did was look in his mouth and say, nope, no abscess. And I explained all that on the phone, saying, no, that was the big fear, is because even with doctors, even with many in the medical field, if there's not a visual, you know, they want to use their x-ray vision, as my brother said, and say, oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong. So, and that wasn't helpful because my son was still in excruciating pain, and now we, you know, had a bill there and no help. I mean, I could have done that. So we tried to get a hold of the hospital emergency room to see if, well, if we bring him in, what are the odds that she'd prescribe an antibiotic? And of course, obviously they couldn't commit. And of course, we know that an ER visit is really expensive. So my brother had sent me a link to a teledentist. And I'm like, never did the tele thing before. I know it's becoming, I've used the term the new house call. And since I've never had experience with it, I kind of doubted that they would do what we needed to be done to get him through until we could get him into a dentist. We got a hold of them at 9 o'clock at night. And it was the weirdest thing because it was such a positive experience. I had a very compassionate dentist on the line with us, and she stayed on the line with us for a very long time. And she prescribed an antibiotic. She wanted to prescribe him. She could tell that he was in extreme pain, and she wanted to prescribe him you know, like a narcotic, but you can't do that on the teledentistry. But she did get him Motrin, extra strength Motrin, or the you know, the one that has to be done by a pharmacy. Now, I'm not a big fan of pharmaceuticals, most of you know, but I do think there's always a place for everything, right? And since he doesn't on the norm take this stuff, it was a huge help. It took the edge off. And so he was still in extreme pain for the next 24 or so hours. By the time the antibiotic kicked in, the Motrin and the alternating with Tylenol helped keep that pain at least manageable. And then by Monday, the antibiotic had kicked in, and he was feeling human again. So now we're trying to play catch up with the dentist on this one because we still have to get him in. So, but we have made contact. There has been communication. We're just trying to agree upon what needs to be done with his tooth. But you know, it's really crazy because I also, while I was on the phone making phone calls, I called a dermatologist. We had a dermatologist appointment for Zebulon back at the beginning of April that had to be canceled because of the COVID-19, because of the virus going around. And I thought, well, you know what? I know the state's getting ready to open up, and the dermatologist was like 2 months out at time of scheduling his initial appointment. We scheduled it in February. They couldn't see him until April. And at that point, when we canceled in April, they said that they were trying to set up teledermatology. So I thought, well, as long as I'm up here making phone calls for RJ, I'll see if I can't get Zebulon in with the teledermatologist, because that worked really well with the teledentist. And do you know what I found out is the dermatologist office is open. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, how can the dermatologist office be open for more than emergencies, but the dentist office can't? I mean, it was kind of a crazy thing, and I'm not sure they're supposed to be. Honestly, my understanding is that each medical office is interpreting open for emergencies only at different levels. So I don't know. I don't know all the logistics here, but that is where, you know, it's just kind of crazy. So my thoughts are, and have been actually from the time this all started, when things are opened up and more safer, if you got things to get done, get them done, because there will be a second wave. I just really fully believe there's going to be a second wave where things will shut down again, and you don't want to be stuck needing something that can be avoided, you know. And you can't always avoid everything, obviously. Like with RJ, we got him in to get the tooth repaired, and it still ended up going south for him. But if you know you got something going on and can get it repaired when your state or your area releases the lockdowns, then I would highly recommend doing it, because that's what we're going to do. Let's see. I guess that's the catch up here. I posted another video, super short for those of you that follow our devotions. that we have opened up the new devotion channel, and we've spent the past week starting to upload. So there's going to be some real regular uploading there, and we're going to put some conversations up. We're putting some of our older videos up just to refresh, and they're so old that I think even if you've watched them, you can still be blessed by that devotion from yesteryear. So all right, well, I guess that's it for now. We've got a busy household today. We did Mother's Day yesterday because RJ was sick last weekend on Mother's Day, so I had a very pleasant day with the family. And I'm praying that all you mothers out there had a good Mother's Day last week. So, oh, okay. I'm going to be uploading a video to the devotion channel about the eye-opener for mothers who have been home with their children since COVID-19 has shut down life for many, or for most of us, and have been aware of how hard it is to work from home, to take care of the home, to take care of the kids, and to school the kids on top of that. I think an eye-opener is delightful. I'm not being rude. I just think we need to stop and we need to reevaluate who we are and why we're here. You know, the camera shifted on me. So much of our lives is, we're convinced that it's all about self-fulfillment and gratification when you go to work and you have a job to fulfill. Whether you like that job or not, or you like that role or not, you may like the job, but everything in the role you may not like. And I think sometimes it's a great opportunity when we realize maybe what we saw as a job that was not nearly as fulfilling is more challenging. You know, maybe not fulfilling because we don't see it as challenging. So that's why, so many women went out into the workforce where really, there's nothing more challenging than raising a family. I mean, there's just nothing more challenging than raising a family. And especially when you're schooling them, when you take on that responsibility. So, oh, I know this is right up in lines there of being proud to be a keeper of the home. But that video, that went over well. And I've heard a lot of people saying, wow, it's like they can't wait to get back to work because work seems to be a safer place sometimes than a more sane place than home. But isn't that why, those of us that are mothers is to enjoy the insanity for a while, because they grow up and they're gone, and then we can do whatever we want in that time period. But oh wait, I'm getting controversial here. That's for the devotion channel. All right, for all of you that were offended by that, just remember I'm a working mother and played both scenes here. And so I guess if anybody's got a right to make a few waves, I'm going to claim that right. I feel sassy today. My husband would say, you're sassy. So, all right, y'all. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk soon. God bless.